My name is Mark Wynn, and I got the privilege of meeting Natalie when I was 3. And I was in that same group of kids. And while I didn't know that Natalie gave her life to the Lord at 4, I did so at 10. She was one of the reasons I wanted to keep going to church, even at that age. Through my young life, I was privileged to be able to hang out with her till about 6th or 7th grade when the family moved away to New Jersey, and that made me sad. But I can remember thinking when I was in 7th grade, she's going to make somebody a good wife. I got to meet her again. We were renewed in friendship back when I was in college, because I went to Wheaton with her all 4 years. She was in my class all that time, from kindergarten all the way up. So I got to see her go through some hard times at the end of college. Yeah, she had a hard first marriage. She had some sickness, and her cancer started a little while later. But I can remember thinking, she still has the attitude that God's got me. God has me. I can remember praying with her on the Wheaton College campus when she was going through that hard time, knowing somehow that the Lord was going to bring her to a place of honor and respect. And He did. Thank you, Mike. She had godly parents. They brought her to a church grounded in Christ back when she was young. That continued on. That was the solid thing that she had to stand on for her life. She meant that to me. I was a friend of hers. If I hadn't seen her for 5 years, I could pick up a conversation right where we left off. When I saw her again in Virginia, after the Army had moved me down here after so many years, it was just like I'd seen her in college. But she had a different life. And the life that the Lord gave her here with Mike, and to finish up her ministry that she had all of her life, that started at age 3 or 4, was finished here in a wonderful fashion. She's one of those souls that you know is with the Lord. There's no doubt about it. You don't have to worry about where she is. Nobody in this room has to worry about where she is. And anybody that came in contact with her needs to understand that if you don't know Jesus, that's what she would want the most for you. Thanks.
Mrs. Zirk, Mr. Zirk, Mike, and Chris, and Carolyn, and Doug, Ellen, Dylan, Bruce. I am Kathy Denman Baker. I am the follow-up story to, I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but Mr. and Mrs. Zirk moved into Basking Ridge, New Jersey, and I have been friends with Natalie ever since. She and I were on the color guard team together. We sat in the front yard playing guitars together under the shade tree, so thank you, Dylan. It was very poignant. Natalie, throughout her high school years, was just a sunlight of truth to everybody who she met, and she continued to be that in my life, and it's quite clear that she lit up many, many lives. So when I think of Natalie now, I think of the sunshine as being God, and that Natalie is a ray from God, that whenever we're down, we can just look at the sun and know that that sunbeam of her and of God is embracing and warming us all now. So, Mike, and to your family, I feel your pain. Thank you. And joy.
Hi, I'm Judy Iskander, and I met Natalie in a totally different way than most of all of you did through your faith. I met her in the medical field where she came to me for mammographies and other types of tests. When I first met Natalie was when I first moved to the area, and knowing Natalie and one other patient of mine in the whole 40 years I've been in radiology, they're the only two people that I became very close friends with, because there was something about her when I met her and looked into her eyes that was totally different than anybody else I've ever met. I always told her she was my guardian angel, and she always looked out for me, and unlike all of you who could feel the religious connection with her, initially she held that back from me. She just was a good listener. She was intuitive. She was supportive. And then through the course of our lives, through the good and the bad and the sickness and in health and all these things, we have come full circle. And after the last 2 years, it was about 2 years, Natalie brought me back to church. But it was in a very subtle way. She has fought this disease ever since I've known her with grace and dignity, as you all have heard. She has endured things that other people would have just given up on. I have shared with her more of my life than any other person, even including my husband. And I know she kept it with her always. And I just know that her spirit will be with all of us. It's a ray of sunshine. She was a ray of hope, and you could always count on an honest answer. Maybe the one you didn't want to hear, but it was always an honest answer. I will miss her. I love her. I love you, Mike. You are a stunning example of what a husband should be. And Roberta, my heart to you. My heart to you. I'm so proud of everyone. Thank you.
My name is Bobby Wilkinson, and a little bit before I came here for this service, I was sitting out on my deck on this glorious day. What a beautiful day the Lord gave us to celebrate Natalie's life today. I also thought how fitting on the day he brought her to heaven. I think we had an earthquake that morning. I think they're connected in some way. But I was reflecting on my friendship with Natalie and what she's meant to me, and I wrote down a few things that I will briefly share with you. What is there to say that has not been said before about our sister, wife, and friend, our daughter, and much more? Nat and I became good friends through Young Life long ago. Then we joined a prayer group that would meet each month or so. We all were blessed by Natalie and the wisdom that she shared. She always had a book to loan or a heartfelt godly prayer. Nat lived a life reflecting Christ in all she'd say and do. She sprinkled love and laughter, hope and joy to me and you. Her spirit, smile, and beauty came from deep within her soul. She'd minister to the broken and somehow make them whole. If only we could have done the same when cancer showed its face. But once again, our Natalie showed great strength and faith and grace. Thank you to her family for this one we loved so much. I think you know the gifts she gave and how our lives were touched. May Natalie's light now shine through us till we see her once again. Our thoughts and prayers remain with you until that day. Amen.
I'm Susan Sharp, and I'm part of a group that went to Wheaton with Natalie. And many of them couldn't make it today, but they wanted to make sure that we told the family how much they loved her too, and how much we're going to miss her. My life isn't quite like Nat. After Wheaton, I didn't necessarily have the faith that she had all the time. But what everybody has been saying was true. Nat was always there. She'd listen to me. She was never judgmental. She just kept praying for me. And she would always say to me, "Koo, it's going to be okay. You're going to find your way." And what she really meant was we never really had lost it, because we had the same Lord and Savior she did. But she just kept faithfully praying and being that friend. And here we all are, all of us from Wheaton, because we're here to celebrate with you. And we know we'll see her again. We can't wait for that. And we just loved her. Thank you.
I'm going to stammer my way through this. I'm Natalie's little brother, Bruce. And being that you're all here, you're all one of my relatives now. And I say I love you all because she loved me with a fierce love. And I say that because even in her last few years, we had some battles over the phone, arguments. And I can say that now because I know she loves me. I think she only lost one of those battles. But I say that because, I've had heroes in my life, but what she's been through, what she's done, I've never seen anything like this in my life. And she loved with a love that there's no words for. When you walk in the power of the Creator, like my sister did, and still does, and it hurt Jesus, there's no words, there's no book. I love you. And I'll say this now because you are my relatives, that there was times in my life when I didn't want to be here anymore. That woman, that sister kept me alive. I thank you for hearing these words. And thank you for coming. I thank Mike for being the person, the man that he was. There's no words that can describe what he's done. There's too many thank yous. I thank you all. Most of all, I thank my sister. God bless you. I love you.
My name is Sarah Spooner, and it's not a happenstance that I fell in love with Jesus the same weekend I met Natalie. It was 1996 at Rockbridge. Thank you, Barb and Sam. And I was going through some bad family problems, and it was a real turmoil at home. And that spring break, I was a punky 16-year-old, almost 17-year-old, and Natalie, who I didn't know that well, threw me in her Civic, and we drove to her parents' bed and breakfast in Maine for a week-long spring break trip. It was irrational to take a 16-year-old you don't know that well, but love well enough to take her out of a situation and just love on her. And I learned what a rational love looked like and the love of Jesus through this woman who never left my life since that moment. I was one of Natalie's kids. She loved on me wisely and very well and very specifically. And every letter I got from her, every email I got from her said, I love you and I'm praying for you and I'm proud of you. I will carry Natalie with me my entire life because she taught me. She was the embodiment of Christ's love from a punky 16-year-old to how old I am now. She was a mother, and I used to send her a Mother's Day card or call her on Mother's Day because that's who she was in my life, and she will always be that person in my life. And Mike knows that some Friday nights after college, I wouldn't go hang out with my friends. I go to Mike and Nat's house because it was way more fun. Or we'd sit out on the deck and watch Mike drive around on his tractor going way too fast. There was one time I was over drinking tea on the back deck with Natalie, and I were sitting there drinking, and Mike has that zero-turn tractor, and he's flying around the yard. I said, Natalie, is he mowing that fast? She's like, no, he's just testing for time. He's the third day in a row. He's been going around the yard. So I thank you, Mike, so much for sharing Natalie with me. She's my hero.